issues.
Right.
That's where he has been the strongest. So he's very skeptical
Right.
of government agencies
Right.
dictating to people.
Right.
Anti-war.
He's sort of classic liberal,
He is.
by the way.
But, this is such a fascinating election year. Back about 3 Fridays ago, a bunch of the Kennedy family came out and endorsed Biden. They had a big news conference.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how
He's the
bizarre.
he's the black sheep of the family.
He
There's
is.
no doubt about that.
Yeah.
The reason he works so good, he looks so good, he works out all the time, Ray.
Yeah.
He's very fitness
Yes.
conscious. What happened to his voice, by the way?
It's a paralysis of the. My wife could tell you because she's the speech therapist, but I can't remember the name of it. I'll look.
But like his vocal cord?
vocal cords. Yeah, it's a vocal cord issue.
Oh, it's permanent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I wondered exactly what happened to him.
But kudos to him. He's not allowing that to stop him.
That's true.
I really
Well, it's
respect
one of those
that.
situations where you get used to it.
Spasmodic dysphonia.
Okay, but it's constant.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Talking about RFK Jr. You're listening to, he's 70. Okay, 70 years old.
I don't think anybody is saying he's going to be a Ross Perot.
Right.
Ross Perot, I think, had a much stronger candidacy than RFK does.
Yeah.
Some people have tried to make that comparison,
Mhm.
but I don't see that happening.
I think Ross Perot, if I remember correctly, he ran twice.
Mm.
And one time was basically he ran on a lot of what Trump did on Make America Great
Mhm.
again. I mean, the MAGA
Sure.
sort of movement was kind of Ross Perot,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little bit more libertarian
Mhm.
at the time. But Ross Perot, he didn't run as a Republican or Democrat. He ran as an independent.
That's correct.
I forgot what he called his party. What was his? Do you remember, Ray? What he called Ross Perot called his
Well,
political
I
party?
want to say American Independent, but I'm not sure if that's right or not. It really was the Ross Perot Party.
The Ross Perot party, but Ross Perot
The Reform Party.
Reform Party.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
I just remember, I remember Ross Perot would go on Larry King back, and that was a hugely popular cable television show.
Yes.
Back
He
in
was
the day.
so much fun.
Oh,
So
yeah.
much fun.
He was from Fort Worth, right? He had
Right.
What was that big company? Dynamics, or what was it? General Dynamics?
EDS.
What was the big company that he made
I
his
wanna
money
say
on?
Electronic Data Systems, right?
It
Was
a
that called
check. It
General?
it
Was
a
that called
check,
General
right?
Dynamics?
No.
Oh.
I want to say EDS, but Electronic Data Systems, EDS.
All right, Ray. Steve's looking it up.
Yeah.
Just what company did Ross Perot own? Make money off of?
Perot Systems, EDS, Electronic Data Systems.
Okay.
Perot Systems. I believe it was paycheck processing, isn't it, Ray? You remember
That's really where where he came up. He figured out a better way to do it.
He was one of the richest men in the world at the time,
He was a
at least,
billionaire.
at least in the country. And but I just remember going on Larry King's show, and Larry King was obviously from Brooklyn. He was a New Yorker, and Ross Perot was a Texan a native Fort Worth, I guess. And I never will forget him saying, "Larry,
That's it. That's it.
Larry." Larry said, Mexico gonna have that giant sucking sound. Larry, you remember that? Huh?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
He didn't care, and to run that kind of campaign, number one, you got to have enough money that you just don't care, right?
No, he had his own. He funded his own campaign.
He did not talk like a normal politician at all.
Now what drove him really was the trade deficit.
Right.
And the loss of manufacturing jobs in America. That was the loss of American sovereignty. Isn't that basically what he was?
Yeah, and Trump picked up on that.
Yeah,
Many
Trump
years
had
later.
a lot of that in his campaign. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're right. But anyway, Larry. and Larry King would be looking at him like, what language is this fellow speaking?
That's right.
Huh?
Texan.
Huh? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Ross Perot, he's been gone like 10 years, hadn't he, or something like that? When did he pass?
He passed in 2019.
Oh, only
How big a percentage of the popular vote did he get?
he got, I'm going to say he got 17%.
I mean, that sounds right to me.
Yeah,
A
he got
big chunk.
17, maybe the first time, maybe 14 or 13 the second time. I want to say that's where he was. He cost George H.W. Bush.
1992, he got 18.9% of the popular vote.
Okay, I was close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He cost, in my opinion, he cost George H.W. Bush the election to Clinton, to Bill Clinton, because Bill Clinton won with a minority of the vote. I'm talking about like plurality. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Clinton ended up with like 43%. Bush like 39 or 41 or 40, and then Ross Perot's percentage. Most people thought he took votes from Bush more than he did Clinton. Don't you think so,
Yep.
Fred?
Yeah, I think that's what happened. Now, if RFK could do that against Biden in some of the blue states, get 18% of the popular vote,
Yeah.
that would damage Biden.
Yeah. My thinking right now is that unless something happens to Trump or Biden, people are going to vote one or the other. They're not going to vote. They're going to vote for Biden or they're going to vote for Trump. And the primary driver of their vote is they don't want the other guy.
Yes.
That's what I think. So I've said that Trump's best thing he's got going for him is Joe Biden.
Mhm.
Best thing Joe Biden's got going for him is Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So, so,
Right.
so whoever can bring their voters out, Ray, more passionately against the other one, that's who's going to win the election.
Well, you know, on this question of RFK and his impact on the election, I mean, look, Trump is going to win Florida. Biden's going to win California. It doesn't really matter what RFK does in those two states. But I could imagine, guys, a scenario in a close swing state like
Right.
Michigan, like Wisconsin,
Right,
like Pennsylvania,
right.
where it's really close, where a few thousand votes, and there were several of those states just very close in 2020.
Yes.
You could imagine RFK playing the spoiler.
Siphoning off 5%, 6%,
That's right.
something
Right.
like that.
Yeah, and Biden cannot afford that in a state like Michigan. One of the big stories I'm going to be watching on election night is if the Islamic vote is going to stay home.
So in Dearborn and in Michigan,
You're talking about 200,000 votes
yeah.
in Michigan amongst that community that is very upset with Joe Biden right now because of his support for Israel.
Mm-hmm.
If on election day they stay home, that will hurt Joe Biden.
But Trump is more supportive of Israel than Biden is.
Yeah,
Well, they were never going to vote for him anyway.
but Trump will get the support that Trump gets. But if 200,000 Muslims in Michigan stay home, that means, and it was very close in Michigan the last time.
Oh, I agree with you.
Sure.
But I agree with what you're saying. But you're cutting your nose off to spite your face. If you're a Arab Muslim in Dearborn, Michigan, and you're going to say, I'm going to punish Biden by getting Trump in the office.
Yeah, and that's why I say if they stay home,
Yeah.
if they stay,
If they do, but
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
you're going to be watching to see, because
Yeah.
a lot of them did during the primary to make
Yeah.
a point.
oh, they sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a real large constituency. What you're saying is the vote in Michigan could be razor thin, as it has been in the last few election cycles.
Mhm.
And if that's true, if Biden can't get the Arabs in
Dearborn.
Michigan to come out, and it cost him a few thousand votes, that could cost him Michigan. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
I got you.
One of the big stories on election night.
Okay. All right. Next story, Steve.
All right, we've been looking at the college campuses and been disappointed with our American youth. And I want to tell you that there are some young people out there who are doing the right thing.
Mhm.
They are representing. They are patriotic. There's a lot of pro-life generation out there. This story didn't have necessarily to do with the pro-life or religion, but it does have to do with patriotism. You've been seeing on some of these college campuses, and particularly at UNC, North Carolina, Chapel Hill, where where the students have been taking down the American flag and putting up a Palestinian flag on campus. And I think I'm guessing because it was guys at several colleges, I'm guessing it was one sorority that decided this was going to be their quest. Anyway, they went to take down the Palestinian flag, put back the American flag, and protect it. And I want you to listen to one young man. I think his name is Dan Stompel at UNC. And he's talking about what it felt like. They stood out there for hours with their arms lifted high. He said, this is like an arm day at the gym. I'm not going to be working out because they were trying to keep the flag away from the protesters. But he's talking about America that I think a lot of us maybe thought we had lost. Let's listen to cut 5.
It was enjoyable to be in such an environment while doing what we think is right. People really took a lot of damage to protect that flag. It's good to see people still willing to put their bodies on the line, their mind and soul on the line to protect this flag. There are still patriots in this country that actually want to fight and would, sacrifice themselves for this flag, this country. And it's been missing a lot of the time, especially during this last administration. Has just been non-existent pretty much.
Been missing, but it's not gone, apparently.
There was another one of the campuses where 3 police officers came up. I'm not sure if they were on duty, but they took down the Palestinian flag there and put up the American flag.
They were in uniform. I saw the video.
Yeah, it was good to see. Really good to see.
Yeah.
You got another story?
Sure, if you want one.
We got time for one more. Is it positive and encouraging?
No, I don't have a positive and encouraging story.
We don't want to end on a. Huh?
Well, okay, let's do this.
It's that kind of day.
Yes, let's do this. This is a
National
positive.
Day of Prayer. We don't need.
The Democrats have been trying to weaken the election system. Well, the Third Circuit Court of Appeals is having none of it. This is a 3-judge panel of the Third Circuit Court of Appeal has ruled that ballots, mail-in ballots that are in an envelope missing a date or an incorrect date are valid. The Democrats wanted to have this every ballot count.
Where is this?
This is the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. I'm trying to find the state here. Third Circuit.
Which state it was?
Yeah.
Tell you what, these mail-in ballots.
Pennsylvania.
That don't. That was so much opportunity for fraud with those things.
Yes.
I wish we could go back to voting day.
Yeah.
And then if you wanted to have an exception for people who are housebound, for example, or who are going to be traveling on election day,
Or our military.
there are exceptions for those people.
Yep.
I know in the past I've had to travel on election day, so I've gone down there early, but I have to make the effort,
Yes.
and it should be that way.
Yes.
It should be that way. This just massive mail outs to everybody in every mailbox is even before 2020. A lot of Democrats spoke out against that. You remember that?
Yes.
A lot of Democrats were talking about that because it had been used fraudulently in Democrat versus Democrat primaries. This massive mail out of ballots that some states do. All right, Ray, thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you, Tim.
Our thanks to Steve Jordahl,
My pleasure.
Fred Jackson, Brent Creeley, our producer. Jenna Ellis was on with us. Alex McFarland was on with us. We thank them. And our brother Chris Woodward, who did a fine job, too. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody, for Trivia Friday.
We live in a day when America's families are under attack like never before. Buddy